really sure why this is a debate, but here we are. And I've seen a whole lot of comments from people who don't understand women's stories or statistics. So to be clear, the answer is unequivocally a bear, and here are the two reasons why. First, the numbers. In the United States, there are 340,000 bears and about 57 million hikers, 26 million of which are female. Since 2020, there have been exactly 7 women killed by bears and 15 non-fatal attacks on women. In the US, there are also 165 million men and 168 million women. Since 2020, there have been 8,000 fatal attacks on women by men and 1.6 million non-fatal attacks. Yeah, but what about adjusting for population size? Okay, fine. But first, just so we're clear, this is an impossible hypothetical because in the US, the Departments of Natural Resources in every state regulate the population of bears. They do not regulate the population of men. But sure, for the sake of this, let's do the impossible. In order to adjust for population, the number of bears in the United States would have to increase by a multiplier of 485 in order to equate to the same population of men. In other words, to get us to 165 million bears, which means you'd have to take that same 485 and make it a multiplier of the incidence. So in this hypothetical, 3,395 deaths and 7,275 non-fatal attacks, which means even in this impossible hypothetical of 165 million bears, you're still greater than 2 times more likely to be killed by a man than a bear if you're a woman in the United States, and about 220 times more likely to be involved in a non-fatal attack by a man than a bear. Oh, also, I should note, statistics on bear attacks are not infamously underreported, unlike the other side of the equation, where statistics show that only about 1/5 of violent encounters against women by men are actually reported, and less than 1/5 of those actually lead to an arrest, and less than 1/100th of those lead to a felony conviction, which means 1% of the ones that are actually reported, meaning not only that men who perpetrate these acts are much more likely to go free than they are to be punished, but also have the opportunity to do it again. Do you want to know what the punishment is for a bear who kills or even injures a human being? There are no repeat offenders, and there is no recidivism. Oh, and not to mention that most states have laws on self-defense against bears that are, let's just say, very favorable to the human being being attacked. Whereas, by the way, in the United States, when a woman who brings a legal claim of self-defense, they are 2 times more likely to be found guilty of a crime themselves than when a man brings up a claim of self-defense. It's almost like we just don't believe women or something. You know? Speaking of which, the second reason why the answer is bear. It's because women are telling you that it's bear. That's kind of all that matters.